Join me right now on Kumite TV. Back on Kumite TV for I don't know. I think you've been on the show more than anybody, which is a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Oh,
Deep
it's man.
megaton champ
Yeah.
Roque Martinez. What's going on, man?
Oh man, not much, man. Just excited to be back on the show.
Awesome, man. Now let's kick it off with the Guam Marathon. I saw you. You're out there doing your thing outdoors. Why did you decide to do that?
Um, Man, actually, I didn't do the full marathon. I just did the 10K. Um, but the thing was is like I think early in the year I was saying I wanted to do I actually wanted to do a full marathon without training for it too much. So I wanted to still keep my MMA training, but I just been wanting to like really test that mental part of my like what do you, I know at some point in a marathon you're gonna start questioning your oh can I finish it, I wanted to test that part, but when I really thought about it I was like, oh, if I do this full marathon or half marathon and I do get a fight in when I was looking at the June 2nd fight, I was like, man, that if that marathon puts me out, like, I'm sore for like 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of missing MMA training. So I was like, okay, we'll just do the 10K. Like that's more that was a smarter move on my end. But man, one day I want to do a full marathon and see what I'm capable of, just test that mental barrier.
Was David Goggins in your head throughout the 10K?
Yeah, but man, it actually wasn't too bad. It wasn't as far as I felt it would be my first 10K, but I just cruised it the whole way through, and it was a good it was a pretty fun run though.
So it wasn't very challenging for you then.
Not so much. I think I could have pushed a little bit harder. My fiance just looked at me and laughed because we actually had this thing. She was I always beat her every time we run, just for the record. But when it came to this 10K, she was a little bit ahead of me, like maybe like 15 feet ahead, and she kept looking back, like checking on me. I'm like, no, go ahead. Like, I know in the second half I'll pick it up, and I was like, you can take the lead while you can. And sure enough, I guess it fired her up. And towards the second half of the race, I was like, man, where is she? Like, I guess she was far. And she beat me in the race, but that was pretty fun though.
Definitely. Now let's go back to the beginning of March. You defended your Deep title successfully at Deep 88. Take me through the lead up to that fight and the finish.
Through the lead up of the fight, man, I was kind of stuck in a point where I wanted a big fight. Um, I mean, it was hard to get up as big a fight as Crow Cop, but I wanted a big fight, another big name. Also at the same time, man, I wanted to stay active. Um, and Deep, they offered to have me defend my title. I didn't feel like, not that I think I was too ahead of anybody, but I just felt like I was definitely levels above Rio Sakai, with all due respect to him. But then at the end of the day, too, I'm also a fighter, and I don't want to be the guy turning down fights. So I wanted to stay active, and I didn't want to turn down a fight, and I ended up taking the fight. Um, as far as the results, I wasn't too happy. I've said it a lot. I don't think I performed to the best of my abilities. So, but it's I learned. It's another lesson learned.
Could you say that you weren't as motivated, compared to the Krokov fight?
No, well, I wouldn't say as motivated because after that loss, man, I was really hungry to get a win. Just to get back on that winning track. So I was definitely motivated to get a win. Maybe a little bit more motivated because I actually had this thing set in my head that I was going to beat him in 30 seconds. And when that didn't happen and he survived past the 30 seconds, it was pretty clear that I got frustrated. And I was just kind of getting a little bit wild and just looking for that one hitter quitter. And, it wasn't my style of fighting. Like, I think I'm more of a smarter brawler than what I showed. So, but I'm always motivated to fight. Doesn't matter who.
So you could kind of say that you learned from that last fight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, what was that? How many years into fighting, and was another learning experience. But yeah, I learned not to chase too hard, not to try and call your shots. Just I think just for the most part, I learned to just fight to your best abilities and to the best of your abilities, and what should happen will follow. So it's better to go about it that way than trying to chase that 30-second knockout.
Now you got Rizin 16 coming up on June 2nd. You're facing Jake Heun. You kind of have a pass with him, since he did call you out before. When they came with you with this offer, what was your reaction to it?
Oh man, I was all for it. I remember he called me out a couple years ago after I beat Lebaner. Um, but I met him in Japan when we fought on the same card, and he's actually a real nice guy in person. So I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get a fight. And but when they asked me if I wanted to take the fight, I was more than willing. You know, yeah.
What do you think of his fighting style?
I think he's actually a pretty decent fighter all around. He's an all around decent fighter. Like I don't see too many weaknesses where you can really pinpoint. But I also don't see anything that stands out to me like, oh, I gotta watch out for this or that. So he's just more of a decent all around fighter.
Hune, he's a guy that goes down to light heavyweight, fights at heavyweight, fights at open weight, but you are strictly an open weight fighter. What differences are there in these divisions?
I mean, I know when you get to 205, you're still dealing with pretty big guys, but also they might be carrying a little bit more speed. Um, so I mean, there's a little bit of a difference there. But as far as I mean, I just don't think it's too much of a difference to me to make any changes to what I need to do. So I know he's fought a lot of light heavyweights and heavyweights. So we'll just see. At the end of the day, I always felt like I was a faster heavyweight than a lot of them. So I mean, if he's a little bit faster because he's usually a light heavyweight, then that's fine with me, man. So I'm just ready for whatever he's gonna bring.
You're always training, but when do you decide to turn up your training, into full fight camp mode?
Yeah, I would say once I get that official go ahead for a scheduled fight, then I pick up my intensity when it comes to like the sparring. But man, for me, I've just always for the last few years I've been just in a similar training style through like just day in and day out, just constantly pushing myself more so on the conditioning side, working on my techniques, and then of course when we get that fight scheduled, then I just pick up the intensity on the sparring. I start throwing a little bit harder, kind of letting the guys hit me a little bit harder. But I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm always training, so it's not really too much of a difference from fight training to my off season training.
The last few months, has there anything that you have been concentrating on in your training?
Not really. I would say if there was anything, again, it's keeping that mental aspect. I think like I talked to you last time was uh, the mental stuff. Like a lot of these motivational speakers talk about. I think it's been more of that, keeping the positive attitudes. What's that manifesting? Keep visualizing till it happens. I think that's probably the thing I've worked on the most, and then all the other hard stuff follows. So maybe if there's one thing that I've been working on, it's the mental aspect.
Is that something that you do alone, or do you have somebody that you go to help you out with the mental part of the sport?
I do it on my own, man. I listen to people who I think directly affect me and motivate me. I mean, they do say motivation's crap, but it is to a certain extent. But when you are I'm so focused on just keeping that positive attitude, um, and it's made a difference in my overall in life in general, not even just fighting, but with work and everything. So, um, yeah, man, I think I've been doing a good job of training myself in that part.
Throughout the last couple of months, did you have any interesting sessions with people outside your close knit group of training partners?
Uh, yeah, not really, not that I could think of. Um, yeah, I've had my same training partners, and for the most part, for the last maybe 4 to 5 years, like it's been like that same core group of guys that's kind of stuck with me. So I don't really try to outreach too much. If I can have a guy that's on island come in and help me, that's a big guy who's maybe a grappler or something come in every now and then. But man, I pretty much stick to my core guys. I'm confident that they do enough to help me.
Yeah, like a lot of fighters, they go to big camps. Some of them, are similar to you. They have a close knit group. I think it's just finding what works for you the best, and
Yeah,
elevating yourself individually.
no, for sure. I mean, I see a lot of guys who will go to like big camps, like you said. That probably works for them. Um, for me, I think keeping that close knit style and where you're comfortable, it works for me. I feel, and like if you look at guys like what's his name, Holloway, right? Like, for the most
Yeah.
part, he sticks to his core guys, and um, man, on all the way up till Connor got really big, he was with his same core guys, and they weren't a big gym. So I think just different things work for different fighters. For me, I love being on island through my whole fight camp.
You only fought twice last year. This is your second fight coming up, and it's only June. Are there other things in the works for you for the rest of this year?
Um, right now, this will be my last fight with my deal with Rizin, and then I'm looking to see what they offer after this, which is kind of why this is a pretty big fight for me. I mean, if I put on a good show, then I've been in not negotiations, but I've had some interest from other promotions, and like I said, it's just comes down to this fight, and that'll open a lot more doors for the opportunity, the money again, and how active I want to be. But whoever I go with, my main thing, more so than the money, is I want to be active with my last. I mean, I don't know how many years I have left in fighting, but I for sure want to be active while I can, as long as I'm injury free. I just don't want to be one of those guys that fights once a year, twice a year. I mean, for me, minimum like 3 fights, like at least three. I could do four. I could do every show if as long as I'm not hurt. So that's kind of going to be a focus point on my next negotiation with whatever promotion there is.
Yeah, I've been following you for a long time now. I've been speaking with you for a long time, and I think this fight is the fight that you've been talking about, throughout the years. It's like the moment that, can elevate you to the next level and get you to a promotion where, even though Ryzen is a great promotion, it could get you to like a much international promotion, and
Yeah,
you're set for it right now.
yeah, definitely. It's really all in my hands, like how I perform. So I like it, man. I'm motivated.
Ryzen, let's say you stay with them. They're bringing in guys, they're bringing in fighters from Bellator to compete in Japan. Is there anyone, in their on their heavyweight roster you would like to face?
Man, yeah, like the thing with Bellator is, and I definitely like the fact that they're cross promoting. Uh, Bellator got some, pretty old school heavyweights that are on their roster. Um, to me, I'll fight anybody, any one of them. But man, just you got guys like what's his name, Mitrione. Um, like the one guy I'd really want to fight, but at the same time, I'd rather see him retire. Of course, is Fedor, man. Like that'd be definitely like a huge honor to fight him. But more so than my own personal interest, I'd rather see him retire. So, but if he wasn't on that on the streak he is now, he'd probably be the one guy I'd want to fight.
Now, one last thing before I let you go. Last time we talked about, motivational speakers. This time I want to, get into martial arts movies. What got you into fighting? What was the movie when you were a kid that was like, hey, that got you hooked?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it got me into martial arts, but That's funny you bring that up, man. One of my all-time favorite movies, and I admit, when I was a kid, I used to cry, like bawl my eyes out. No matter how many times I watch it, was Best of the Best. Uh, yeah, when the ending, man, for sure, always it always hits me, man, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies, and I would say that's probably one of the big influences I had as far as martial arts movies. Of course, like the
Any
Bruce Lee
others?
movies I used to watch. Yeah, I used to watch all the Bruce Lee movies. Um, but also at the same time, when I was watching those, I wasn't thinking I was going to be a fighter, you know. So, but uh, but yeah, I mean, I used to watch them. Good movies, man. But like I wasn't thinking I was going to be fighting myself. But I think I want to say a few fights ago, I watched Best of the Best before one of my fights, maybe like the week of the fight. It was cool, like just getting those flashbacks, you know. Like I used to bawl my eyes out at the end, but you know, it's cool movies, man.
All right, man. Well, June 2nd, you head back over to Japan for Rizin 16. It's a big fight for you. I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be, I think, stylistically, it's a great matchup to, for the crowd and for the viewers that are watching. Thanks, Roque, for your time, man, and we'll speak soon.
All right, thanks again for having me, man, and yeah, definitely hope to be back again. My name is Roque Martinez. Hey, you guys can follow me on Facebook. Just search my name, Roque Martinez, or Instagram, Roque_Martinez 86. I post a lot of my day-to-day stuff there, so you can follow me on my journey. Man, I'd definitely like to thank my sponsors. One of my main sponsors, Calvo's Insurance. Man, they always take care of me whenever I need help with anything. And just thanks to all my family, my friends, my fans, everyone who just supports me. And, I'm just grateful to be where I'm at. And it's really all because of the support. So just really thank all of you guys and for all the love and all the support.